Okay. So in today's class, we'll see how we can integrate AI. So in Playwright automation, okay, Playwright along with Python automation. So before jumping into the concept, so we need to understand some basic concepts like what is artificial intelligence and what is generative AI, which is basically subsection of the overall artificial intelligence. And we'll try to understand what is generative AI. And after that, we need to also understand few terminologies like what is LLM, which is large language model. The second thing is agent. What is an agent? How exactly we can use with agent? And the third thing is MCP. So model context protocol. So these are the three important things we need to understand before jumping into the automation with AI. So first of all, AI is basically artificial intelligence. Everybody know that. Artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is basically as a big umbrella. Under this, there are so many subsections are there. Like we have a machine learning, neural networks, okay, and then we also have a robotics. So these are all comes under the artificial intelligence only. Okay, the main thing which we are interested is generative AI. Okay, so this is the main part. Generative AI. This is main thing which we important in software development as well as in testing. So artificial intelligence is a big umbrella under which there are multiple domains are there. Like we have a robotics and we have something called neural networks, data science. All these things comes under the artificial intelligence only. But the generative AI is also one of the part in the artificial intelligence where the developers and testers will focus more on the generative AI. So what is generative AI basically? So generative AI is basically generate the content. So based upon the knowledge which you already have. So for example, generative AI means a system where we will train the data. Okay, we can simply say it is a size system or it is a framework kind of thing where we can train with some data, and based on the data, it will generate the new content or new set of data. So that is basically taken care by generative AI. So the name itself says generative means it will create some new content based on the existing one. But we need to train it first. So until unless we train it, it doesn't know what it has to do, right? So we need to train the system first, and then accordingly it will generate the content for us. So that is basically generative AI is focusing on. So generative AI is basically a system, is a system which has a trained data, okay, which has a trained data. So based on this trained data, it will work basically, okay, train the data. So if we have some data, so we can work with the generative AI tools. There are n number of tools are there, so we can just use them. Basically, how exactly generative AI tools work based on the data which we have trained with them before. Okay, so in this generative AI, this is a very high level terminology, is a generic term under which there are multiple things are there again. So the main thing is LLM, which is basically large language model. Okay, and the second thing is agent, and the next thing is MCP. So this is very popular, model context protocol, model context and protocol. So these are the three important things we need to understand before jumping into the automation. So generative AI is a system which has a trained data. So based on this, based on the data, it will generate the new content. So the content can be a text or images, whatever it is. It depends on the data which we already trained. Based on that, it will create a new content. So which is basically focusing on generative AI. Now there are three important things: large language model, agent, and then MCP. So let us see what is exactly LLM means. So LLM is basically a system. This is also a system. As I said, generative AI is basically a system which has a trained data, right? So LLM is also same thing. LLMs are examples for generative AI. Generative AI is a theory concept, but there are certain tools which are implemented based on generative AI principle. So those tools basically called as a LLMs, large language models. So we already know there are many LLMs are there in the market. So we have something called Chat GPT, we have a Google Gemini, Claude, DeepSeek. So these are all comes under different type of LLMs, which are already currently available in the market. So what exactly these LLMs will do? We can do, we can ask the questions and we can get explanation for those questions, and also we can generate the code. Also sometimes we can generate the scripts, automation script, and sometimes we can also use them for general purpose, for writing email, creating the blogs, creating the documentation. So we can do many things by using these LLMs, right? And we can use these LLMs with the general language. So we don't need to learn any programming, nothing. Just basic English knowledge is enough to work with these LLMs. The most important thing is prompting. This is very important. So even though if you know the language, if you're not providing proper prompt, you will not get the proper output or proper response from the LLM. So you should also know how to write a proper prompts in English language. So the prompting is also very important. So what is a prompting? Prompting is a mechanism to provide the instructions to the LLM. So prompting is basically what? Providing inputs, providing inputs or providing instructions to the LLM. So prompting is basically providing inputs or instructions to the LLM. So we have to clearly provide the proper instructions to the LLM. So then you will be able to get the accurate output from the LLM. Okay. So the LLMs, basically what it will do based on the data which we already trained. So based on the data, it will able to generate some new content. Okay. But it cannot act. It has certain brain because we can instruct some data, right? So it can learn, but it cannot act. So there are two things actually, learning and acting. So LLMs can learn the things, but it cannot act, that cannot execute. Okay. So LLM can answer your questions. So if you ask something, it can explain your topic. And suppose if you ask LLM to generate some piece of code, it can generate the code, it can generate the automation script, but it cannot execute the script. It can just only the generate the script based upon your instructions, but it cannot execute it, first of all. Similarly, it can create an email, it can generate the email message, but it cannot send the email. So there is a two different things, learning and acting. So the main advantage of LLMs are what? They can learn and then you can give the response. But what is the limitation of the LLMs? They cannot act, or they cannot do any activity, or they cannot perform any action on the real time. So that is a major limitation for LLMs. So for example, if I use ChatGPT and if you ask to write some test case, it is able to create the test case based upon your requirement. If you just provide simple requirement in the form of prompting, and it can generate the test case, but it cannot execute the test case on the real browser. If I ask ChatGPT to execute the test case, it cannot, right? So it can have it has a brain, it can learn things, it can generate the content, new content, but it cannot act, it cannot execute, it cannot perform any action on the runtime. So that is the main limitation of this LLMs. So there exactly the agent come into picture. So because of these limitations, agent come into picture. So now what is an agent? So what is the limitation of LLMs? LLMs can think, can learn, can provide the response. They can generate the output, but they cannot execute. They cannot run anything. They cannot run your test cases in the real browsers. They are all limitation from LLMs. And then agent come into picture. So what is the agent will do? Agent will actually perform the actions. Agent can actually perform the actions. Agent can actually execute your automation test scripts on the real browser. It can interact with your browser. It can interact with your databases. It can interact with the backend APIs. It can access all the resources which are you have used at the backend, even though they are remotely available or they are available in your local system also. So for example, if you are using ChatGPT don't have knowledge of about your files, your computer files. ChatGPT don't have any knowledge about the softwares which we have installed on your local system, right? But agent will know that. So agent can execute. So agent will able to access all the resources, local resources or remote resources. And accordingly, whatever instructions you provided, accordingly, the agent will able to execute them on the real browser or real databases or APIs, wherever you want. So we can say agent is basically an assistant. We can say it is an assistant that actually does what the LLM says. Okay, so it is an assistant. Agent is an assistant that actually does what the LLM says. It can perform the actions. It can perform actions or we can perform execution at the real time. So agent alone cannot do any action. So we have to again provide some instructions. From where we have to provide the instructions? From the LLM only. Okay, we will integrate LLM, one of these LLM along with the agent. So LLM, if I use only LLMs, we cannot perform any action or execution on the real time. We can simply generate the data or we can generate the automation scripts, but we cannot execute them on the real browsers on the databases. So LLMs cannot access them, all the resources. Whereas agent will able to access everything, all the resources, browser, databases, APIs. So wherever you have given the access to the agent, agent will able to access everything. But to perform action, we have to again provide the prompt through LLM only. So whatever LLM is provided, based on the instructions, the agent will act. Agent will perform the action in the real time. Okay. So based on the limitation of this LLM, agents are developed. But now agent and LLM, how we can integrate these two? So agent is having, LLM is having the brain. Okay, that's fine. Agent can do the action, but there should be something which should provide the instructions or protocol, right? So there exactly MCP come into picture. Model context protocol. Model context protocol. So let's try to understand this. LLM can generate the content. It can just think and provide the response. It cannot act. Agent can act based on the instructions we provided through LLM. But even though if you want to, if you want agent to be acted, so we need to provide a proper protocols. Like for example, agent can access the data. Agent can access the database and it can do something on the database. Agent can access the browser. It can perform certain things on the browser. But what it should do, that we have to provide instruction. Like, okay, agent can open the browser, but after opening the browser, what we should do? What agent should do? We need to open the URL. We need to interact with elements, right? We need to provide all those instructions. Who will do those all these things? MCP will do that. So agent will perform the actions based on a protocol, right? That is provided by the MCP. So MCP provided a protocol based on this model context protocol. Agent will act. Agent will act. So now what is the relation between these things? So what MCP can do, what else MCP can do? MCP can do browser automation. It can open the website. It can fill the forms. It can click on the buttons also. Okay. So all these things we can do through agent. But to perform those things through agent, again, we have to provide the protocol through MCP. Okay. Through MCP only it is possible. Only with agent we cannot do. So all three is interrelated. So in the first layer, LLM come into picture. So what we can do with LLM, we can provide the prompt. So once it is provided the prompt, then agent will perform the action. Agent will perform the action. On what basis agent perform the action? It can act on everything. It can access the resources, databases, browsers, and everything. But we need to provide proper protocols to this through MCP. So here MCP come into picture. LLM, agent, and MCP. Okay. So basically LLM that understand the content and generates the new content. So what agent will do? Agent will assist to the LLM to perform the action. And MCP works like a bridge between LLM and agent. MCP works between like a bridge between LLM and agent. So without MCP, agent alone cannot do anything, because even though agent is able to access all the resources, local or internal resources or external resources, but it cannot perform any action until we provided a protocol or until provide certain instructions through MCP. Okay. So this is the relation between the LLM, agent, and MCP. Okay. So MCP is a protocol actually. So which is provided to the agent, and then agent will interact with everything. So this is how the relation between LLM, agent, and MCP. So all LLMs comes under the generative AI. And top of that, based on the limitations of LLMs, agents have been designed or developed. And only with the agents, we cannot achieve anything. So we should implement MCP. So there are multiple, n number of MCPs are available in the market. Like we have a Playwright MCP, through which we can generate the Playwright automation code or automation script. We have a Selenium MCPs. We have a database related MCPs. We have a API related MCPs. Different technologies are having different kind of MCPs. So if we have such type of MCP, we can work with that particular kind of technologies. For example, if you want to work with the Playwright automation, we need a Playwright MCP. Similarly, if we want to work with the Selenium automation, then we need a Selenium MCP. And suppose if you have a database designer or a database developer, you want to access the database, then you want to do certain transactions, or if you want to implement some database scripts, then we need a database related MCPs. So in every area, the different type of MCPs are developed, which are currently available in the market, but it is ongoing process. Still, there are so many MCPs coming into market. So this is the main thing. Okay. So LLMs are already available in the market. There are n number of LLMs are there. We already know about ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, DeepSeek. These are the popular LLMs. There are n number of LLMs still there in the market, and they are coming into market. And agent and MCP. Okay. So this is relation LLM, agent, and MCP. So just understand LLM is basically can think and generate the new content. It cannot perform any action. Agent can perform the action. It can do the actual execution through browsers or database, APIs, everything we'll able to access. But to perform such actions, we again should provide certain protocols or instructions through MCP. Until unless we have an MCP, agent cannot work. Okay. So that is all about. So for example, simple example I'll tell you. So agent and MCP. Suppose there is a person, and if you ask the person should go somewhere, right? That is an instruction actually. But until unless you said where he should go, right? If you don't tell the destination, actual destination, he won't go anywhere. So that is the reason agent can do that. Agent can perform the activity, but MCP should provide the protocol to the agent, and then only it will perform the action or execution on the real browsers or databases or APIs or any other resources. And LLMs cannot access our local resources like our databases or automation script. Nothing will be accessed by LLM, but agent will able to access, and MCP will able to provide the protocols to the agent, and accordingly it will perform the actions on the browsers. Okay, so this is a relation between LLM, agent, and MCP. Okay, so everybody's clear so far. So these are the three things we need to first understand. Then I'll show you practically how we can use LLM, agent, and then MCP. Okay. Now, so the next thing is I'll try to introduce. So we are not going to directly work with this LLMs, ChatGPT, Google, because everybody knows about LLMs, how we can use, right? Simply every day, almost everyone using these LLMs on day-to-day basis for different purposes. We already know about it. But here the thing is how we can utilize them for our automation. Okay, how we can make our tasks faster through your automation. So let us see how we can do this. So before that, we have something called GitHub Copilot. This is a very beautiful tool, GitHub Copilot. So this is actually a kind of LLM. This is also comes under the LLM, GitHub Copilot, but especially designed for coders. So whoever is developing the code or whoever is writing the automation test scripts, right? Especially for those type of people, the GitHub Copilot is got designed. This is also a kind of a framework. Okay. So GitHub Copilot is especially designed by GitHub itself. And what exactly the GitHub Copilot will do? So whenever you start writing some automation code, right? So before writing the entire code, you can get the suggestions, automatic suggestions by the GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot will provide you automatic suggestions when you're writing your code or when you're implementing some piece of code. But from where this GitHub Copilot will get the code automatic suggestions? From the existing GitHub repositories. So in the GitHub remote repository, there are millions of repositories are created by millions of people, right? So there are n number of repositories are there in our GitHub repositories. So what GitHub Copilot will do, when I integrate this GitHub Copilot in your automation or in your IDE, whenever you start writing the code, it will automatically suggest everything. Sometimes it will also complete your code without writing the entire thing. GitHub Copilot will automatically give the suggestions, and also it will automatically complete the code. And sometimes if the code is having some issues or some errors, GitHub Copilot will automatically rectify those errors. So that is also can be done by the GitHub Copilot. And also, if I ask any query, GitHub Copilot will give the response, because this is also part of generative AI. It is also an LLM. So there are many uses are there. So this is especially designed for coders. And again, GitHub Copilot is also internal use, either ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, DeepSeek, so multiple LLMs. Sometimes we can choose actually. In the GitHub Copilot, it is supported multiple LLMs, and we can use one of these LLM. So GitHub Copilot is a kind of a framework which is implemented by taking help of LLM along with the GitHub repositories, and especially designed for what? Designed for coders. Means what? Developers or automation testers. Okay, designed for coders or automation testers. GitHub Copilot is available. Okay. So now we'll see how we can install GitHub Copilot. And this GitHub Copilot supported almost in every IDE. We can install it with Visual Studio Code. We can install with PyCharm, and almost every kind of language, every technology is supported nowadays. So GitHub Copilot is available for all kinds of IDEs, all kinds of languages. Okay, so everything is free. So GitHub Copilot is totally open source. Okay. So we'll see how we can use this GitHub Copilot along with our PyCharm. Okay, there are multiple usages are there. So I will show you one by one. So how we can use this GitHub Copilot and how we can use it. So first of all, let us see the installation part, how we can install GitHub Copilot in your PyCharm IDE. Okay, so let's go to PyCharm. This is our PyCharm. So to install GitHub Copilot, the first important thing is you need to have GitHub account. I hope everybody is having GitHub account, GitHub login. That is the first thing we need to have. And the second thing is, that's the only thing we need to have first. Okay, GitHub account is needed. So how we can install GitHub Copilot from IDE? Okay, simple. You need to go to settings here, go to file and go to settings. And inside the settings, you can see something called plugins available, right? Here is the plugins. Inside the plugins, you can see marketplace. You need to go to marketplace. So here you need to search for GitHub Copilot. Simply say GitHub and you can say Copilot. So once you search for GitHub Copilot, here it will show you GitHub Copilot option. So you just look at the icon. Okay. So there are many things you can see, but this is the main icon you can see. You need to select this, and or you can see the install button like this, because I already installed this Copilot earlier. I'm not able to see the install button, but in your case, first time when you're installing this GitHub Copilot, you will see install button here. Okay, just click on install button. This plugin will be installed. And once the plugin is got installed, it will ask you to restart your IDE. Then you have to restart your PyCharm. You need to restart your PyCharm. So that's the first thing. So once you restart your PyCharm, then your GitHub Copilot is ready to use in your PyCharm. This is one simple installation. Okay. And not only installation, you have to enable this. You have to enable this. I'll show you. So once you have installed this GitHub Copilot, it will restart your PyCharm IDE. So once your PyCharm IDE is restarted, then again one more time, go to settings, and here under the tools, you can see Copilot option here, GitHub Copilot option here. So inside this GitHub Copilot option, there are multiple options you can see here. Okay. So if you are able to see this GitHub Copilot, that means you have already installed this GitHub Copilot plugin. Okay. This is the step number one. So once we have installed GitHub Copilot, then the next thing is what? We need to connect. So you will able to see one icon in the right side in the bottom section. You can see currently this is not signed. So if I click on here, you will see these options. Okay, first time. So when you open the GitHub Copilot in PyCharm IDE, you will see these options. So now what we need to do, next step, once we have installed plugin, we need to log into the GitHub with your account. So whatever GitHub account you already have, with that account, we should log into the GitHub, because GitHub Copilot works based on the GitHub repositories. So even though it is getting the code from n number of repositories, but you need to authenticate with your GitHub repository account. Okay. So once you install this GitHub Copilot plugin, then you will get this small icon here. And then you need to just click on login to GitHub. So once you click on this login to GitHub, it will show you the device code. Okay. So once you copy this, just copy this device code. Once you copy this, click on copy and open. And then it will automatically open your GitHub account. So GitHub URL, it will navigate to the GitHub URL. So whatever account you already have, you need to sign in with this account. Sign in, and this is account I'm using. And if you have another GitHub account, you need to use a different account. So simply click on continue. And then whatever code you copied in the previous step, just you need to copy this code. Click on continue. So once we have done it, now it will show you something. Full control of private repositories, update GitHub action workflows. By default, both the options will be selected. And just click on authorize GitHub. It will show you something. This authorization was requested from so and so place and so date. Make sure you trust this device as it will get access to your account. So once you get this, simply say authorize GitHub. So once you click on authorize GitHub, then it will be authorized. So let me share a small document because I already done this multiple times. You can see this. This is the screen just now I have seen. Okay, so just click on continue and then it will show you the code. And then once you authorized, right? So you will see this one, authorize GitHub Copilot IDE plugin. So simply click on authorize GitHub. So once you have done it, it will ask you the password and simply say confirm. So once you have confirmed, then you will get a congratulations message. So this is how we can simply log in into your GitHub repository. So after that, you will be able to see all the other options in this icon. So I'll show you quickly now. Yeah, so it is enabled my button. So I'm just clicking authorize GitHub. So once you click on this button, it will ask you about my GitHub password. So let me provide my password. Okay, so I'm just providing my GitHub password. So once you provide it, click on continue or confirm. Now, congratulations, you have set. So once you come back to your IDE and it is giving some, the login to GitHub failed reason. Okay, it is giving some error. Let me just close it. And because it is open lately, so that's the reason it's giving some error, unknown error. So let's try one more time. And I'm just closing once again. And if you're facing some issues at the time of login, just retry once again. Okay, so I'm just again trying to log in. So log into GitHub and again copy this code and copy and open. Okay, so just simply say continue, copy this code, again click on continue and click on authorize GitHub. Congratulations. So once it is done, again you need to go back and it is taking few seconds. Now you can see successfully logged into GitHub for GitHub Copilot. So you should see this message. So once you are able to log into the GitHub, now you can see green color tick mark. And if you open this icon, you will see some options here. You can see open chart, edit settings. There are many settings, view quota usage. There are many settings are there. Okay. So this is the second step. First step, we have to install GitHub Copilot plugin through settings and this plugin option. And the second thing is once you get an icon, you need to log into the GitHub with your own account. Okay, these are the two things we need to do. So once you successfully log in, now your GitHub account is ready. Your Copilot is ready to use. Your Copilot is ready to use. So if you want to check the settings once again, you can just go to the file and go to the settings and you can see the GitHub Copilot. This option you can see, right? So these are all the options you are able to see here. So now once we have installed GitHub Copilot, now let us see how we can use in our automation. So what we can achieve with this GitHub Copilot. So I will provide the documentation also. So step-by-step documentation. So you will able to install this very simple. So once we install GitHub Copilot, so the next thing is how we can use GitHub Copilot. So there are multiple uses we have. So we can use it for code completion. We can ask question and answers in the form of comments. And suppose if you already have some piece of code, so you are not understood that particular code, so then you can ask Copilot to explain that particular code. And sometimes we want to simplify the code or we want to refactor the code. So we can also simplify the code. And also it is provided the chat window, whatever you want, you can ask. and we can generate the documentation, and we can put the window, chart window, wherever we want. So currently this chart window is provided here, right? Suppose if I open the chat box here, currently the chat box is based here, it is displayed. But if you want to move this chat box wherever you want, you can move it. So you can just click on this option, three dots, and you can see this view mode. And here you can see something called window. If I click on this window, now the chat box you can put wherever you want. Okay. And again, if you want to pin it, you can just go with view window, view mode, and then simply say doc pinned. You can use this option. So this is how we can open the chat box from this GitHub. So now let us see how we can use this GitHub Copilot in the different ways. So we can use code completion, question answers in the form of comments we can provide. We can ask to explain the code. We can simplify this and many more things we can do. I'll show you one by one. I'll demonstrate. Look at this carefully. Okay, so the first thing, code completion. So what is code completion feature? So I will also write here. Okay, so the features of GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot. So the first feature is code completion. Okay, GitHub Copilot you can use for code completion. So what is code completion? I'll show you. So let me just create a new directory for today's class. I say AI testing. Okay. So we already enabled GitHub Copilot and we already connected to GitHub repository through Copilot, which is available now. What we can do, simply create a new Python file. I call it something test underscore Copilot demo. Okay, I'm just simple giving a simple file, Copilot demo. Okay. So what is code completion? So whenever you start writing the code, it will automatically provide the code automatically. So for example, let's say I just want to write a Playwright test. I want to write a Playwright test. What you will do initially, we will import required package, right? So see how the code completion works. So I'm just trying to import something. You can say from Playwright dot the sync API. From that, I'm trying to import something called Playwright and something. So let it be there. Okay. Now I'm starting simple writing a code. Now you can see this. As soon as you start writing simple keyword, it is automatically suggesting. I'm writing simple Playwright code, Playwright test. So def, let's say test underscore login. See this? This is the beauty. As soon as I just type test underscore login, it is automatically identify what I'm going to write. And it is pull entire code from some Git repositories and it is giving some auto suggestions. Look at this. All this code is automatically provided by Copilot. But sometimes it is relevant or sometimes it may not be relevant. If it is relevant, you can simply put tab and the code is automatically available. And if it's not relevant, you can just continue typing something. But for now, I don't have any relevant for this. Suppose let me remove this. I'm not this content is not relevant for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just continue to do some piece of code. Let's say test login. Here I'm going to create a page picture. For example, page should come from the page. Now we need to import this. Now you can see as soon as you enter, it is started giving all the examples. Now I'll import this page. See, as soon as you type enter here, it is automatically giving code suggestions. This is called code completion. Okay, simply can, if you want to have this piece of code, you can simply put tab, or if you don't want, you can just continue to this. For example, I don't want this code, still continue to type. So I'm saying page dot go to, and here, whatever URL you want, you can just simply provide the URL here. Simply I can say HTTPS. From each and every step, it will be very, very helpful. www.google.com. So I just typed one statement. Now, after that, enter. So again, it is giving assertion suggestion also. Suppose I want to have this statement, simply say tab. Now again, another step is suggesting. What is suggesting? It is searching for some search box and it is typing some Playwright. Okay, now I want to have this tab. Again, click on the tab. Simply entering another one, page dot press. It is pressing an enter key. Now again, I want to have this. Press enter. So if you want to have that piece of code, you can have it by pressing enter. And if you do not, if you do not want to have it, you can simply continue to type. Okay. So this is how it will automatically suggest, it will automatically identify what you are going to type based upon the previous knowledge. So because in the repository, there are millions of code is already available. So based on that content, it is guessing what exactly you're going to write. And accordingly, it will start giving the suggestions. So this is basically called code completion, the feature of code completion from GitHub Copilot. So if it is giving you the different suggestions, then you can re-ask again. So you can also provide the comment. I will show you that. Okay. So this is code completion feature. So code completion feature means what? You can simply start typing. Accordingly, it will give the suggestions. If you want to have the suggestion, press tab key. And if you do not want to have the suggestion, you can just continue with that. Type continue this. Okay. So this is simply, yeah, we can use Copilot for code completion. Okay. So similarly, suppose you have written something here. Right. Suppose I have written some piece of code, just 2 lines of code I have written. Suppose I want to ask, like, suppose what exactly this code is doing, right? Suppose if I not understood something. Okay, let me just copy some piece of code from our previous examples. Okay, so let me, yeah, so get this piece of code. I'm just for sample, I'm just taking this code. Okay, and let me import this. Okay, so this is a piece of code I have written in my code. So now I want to understand this code because I don't know about this code. I just want to ask what exactly it is. So then what we can do is we can just select this code, or suppose if you're not understood a specific line from this code. Okay, then what you can do, whichever line you have not understood, you can select that line. Or if you're not understood the entire code, you can select the entire code and simply right click here and you can just go here, GitHub Copilot. Here, there are multiple options you can see. Explain this. You can see this option here, and also you can see this option in the icon also. You can just open this icon and open the chart. And here, you should able to see the options. Okay, so it is not visible here. And you can just directly right click on this code and right click. And you can go here, GitHub Copilot, and explain this. So once you select this option, it will explain the entire code, whatever you have written. See, each and every step it is clearly explained in this. So what exactly we are doing in this step and what we are doing in this, what we are doing in this. So each step is clearly explained here. Okay. And this is one feature explaining this. Another feature, suppose if there is any issue or error in this particular code, we can easily fix it. Suppose here I'm getting my URL equal to page.url. Page.url. I put bracket here. And let us see whether it is working or not. Let me just run it first. I just ran my code. So by default, it is running on headless mode. So now it is got failed because I put this bracket. Okay, so because of that, the string object. So because of this, the test is got failed. So now I want to fix this through GitHub Copilot. So how we can fix this? You can simply select the code, or if you select the specific line also, if you're already aware of where exactly the error comes, you can select the particular line, or you can select the entire code. And again, right click, go to GitHub Copilot and simply say fix this. So once you fix this, it is trying to identify where exactly the errors are there and it is trying to fix it. Now we can see it found the error here and it is rectified here. And this is the final code which is given. So if you want to have this code here, or you can manually modify this by seeing this rectification, or you can directly have this code copied into your main window. You can do that. So for example, here, this is the entire code newly generated, right? So you can see one option here, copy code block. Or the second option is also the insert code block at cursor. So one is for copying this entire code. Once you copy, we need to paste it over here. Other option is we have something called insert code block at cursor. So wherever you put cursor, this entire code will be inserted. So for example, I want to insert this code at here, wherever my cursor is waiting. Simply click on this insert code block at cursor. This code will be automatically inserted. So the other code can simply remove this. Okay. So you can do like this. So this is how we can also fix the code. Wherever the issue is there, we can simply fix the code. So for example, let's say I'm just removing the bracket here. I remove the bracket here. Copilot itself is suggesting here. When you just say my URL, the bracket is suggesting by Copilot. Suppose if you forgot to put somewhere, and then again, one more time, you can ask to fix it. You can just select the code, right click, GitHub Copilot, and simply say fix this. Okay, now you can see it is successfully fixed. And again, you want this code, simply click on this insert code block at cursor, and the new code is got inserted here. And remove this existing one. Okay. So this is how we can see. So Control Alt L and everything will be properly aligned. So these are the few important features which we have for Copilot. And I'll show you a few more features. And let me just minimize it now. So what is another feature? Suppose you can also ask anything through comments. Okay, so for example, let's say I have not uh, written this. Okay, now I have just opened my page, but I don't know how to capture the URL of the page. Let us say I don't know how to capture the URL of the page. So then you can ask Copilot how we can ask put comment. Okay, and here you can ask how we can ask, you can put Q or question because it will understand better. Okay, so here you can ask, see, it is automatically giving the session, get the URL of the application. So you can simply write get the URL of the application. This is also auto completion. So as soon as you put the comment and enter, see this, it is giving the statement. So as soon as you put enter, it is giving. And if you want to have that statement, you can simply put tab and keep with the statement. So sometimes when you're writing the code also, if you're forgot or if you don't know how we can extract the URL or anything, it can be anything. If you're not able to proceed further, stuck somewhere, then accordingly you can provide a proper prompt in the form of comment and it will suggest you. Okay, then if you want to have the suggestion, keep it in your code by pressing tab key. And if you do not want, again you can ask. Suppose if you do not like this, again one more time you can ask. So that's how we can use Copilot. Okay, so it will fix the logical errors also. It will fix the syntax errors as well as logical errors. But the only main thing is you need to provide the proper prompt. So you can also provide the prompt. So for example, let's say you select the code. Okay, and I can just open the Copilot here. There is an open chat window. And in this window also, you can provide the prompt. So whatever you want to get the details or information, if you want to fix it, or if you want to refactor it, simplify this, anything you can ask by providing the prompt in this chat box. So we no need to go to external tool like ChatGPT or Gemini. We no need to go and log in there. So directly with this, which is a built-in tool. Copilot is built-in tool which is available for every IDE. So without going to the another window or without going for ChatGPT or any external LLMs, we can directly use this Copilot inside the IDE itself. So whatever you want to have, whatever you want to know about this code, so you can simply provide the prompt here and it will give the details about this. It can also fix all the issues, errors, syntax errors, logical errors, anything it will automatically fix. Okay, this is about Copilot. Okay, and one more thing. So you need to understand one limitation of this. So what is this Copilot is able to do here? It is giving the code auto completion, means it is generating it and it is trying to fix the issues. It is trying to simplify this. Suppose I just want to make more simplify this code, then simply select it, right click, GitHub Copilot and simply say simplify this. And it will give you more simplified code. Just 3 lines of code which is given. Instead of writing 4 lines, 3 lines. So you can simply insert. Now you can change. Within 3 lines, everything is done. So instead of writing a separate line for page.url, it is put inside one single line. So anything, any code, like you have 1,000 lines of code, 100 lines of code, doesn't matter. Just select the code. You can fix it, whatever errors you have. It can be syntax errors or logical errors Or if you want to simplify this, you can simplify this by using Copilot. So this is how we can use it. So you need to understand the limitation of this. We are able to generate something new. We are able to fix the existing issues, but we are not able to execute. So our Copilot cannot execute this code. Our Copilot will able to generate the code. Our Copilot will able to fix the code. It can give the auto suggestions, completion, everything, but it cannot run this code at the real browsers. Why? Because the Copilot is not aware of our browsers. Copilot is not aware of our databases or any resources. So that is a limitation of this LLMs or Copilot. Even Copilot also internally using LLMs. If I look at here, these are the different LLMs configured along with the Copilot itself. Okay, Copilot is just a wrapper or a tool which is developed by on top of LLMs. So these are current LLMs which is supported in this Copilot. So what is the limitation of this LLMs or Copilot is it cannot execute. It can just generate the new content. It can fix whatever issues we have in the code, or it can refactor your code. It can simplify your code, and you can ask whatever you want by just putting some comment here. Okay, that's it. So that will automatically do. So even debugging, you don't need to do anything manually. So it will automatically go through everything and it will debug. Again, the debugging is part of execution, right? That is also limitation in Copilot. So that we will able to achieve with MCP. That I will come to that. Okay. So debugging and execution, this is part of execution, action. So that we cannot do through Copilot. But Copilot will try to fix the issues with the existing code, whatever we have written here. And Copilot will refactor the code. Copilot will simplify the code. But Copilot cannot debug it. Debugging is different. Fixing the issues is different. Okay, if you have a syntax error, logical error, which will able to fix it. So debugging in the sense we need to interact with the multiple files. Okay, maybe here this is a file doesn't have any dependency on any other file, but sometimes this is depending on some other file, right? So there is a dependency. So debugging and execution, these are all part of action, execution. So that is taken care by MCP. Okay. So I hope everybody's understood about GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot, once you have enabled, once you connected to GitHub repository, you will able to use all the feature from GitHub Copilot. And if you do not want to use GitHub Copilot, simply log out from here. If you log out from GitHub Copilot, it won't give any suggestions. Okay, it will still chat window is enabled, but you won't use it for your coding purpose. Okay, so simply you can use like this. So just by writing comment also, it will able to understand and it will show you everything. So that's how we can use GitHub Copilot. So now we will go to the next step. So far we have seen how to use GitHub Copilot. The next thing is, what is the limitation of LLM? We are not able to execute. We are not able to run. We are not able to debug, right? So now MCP come into picture. So we need to additionally integrate MCP along with this IDE. MCP along with this IDE. Model Context Protocol. As I said, what is MCP? MCP is a kind of a framework which will provide the protocols to the agent. Which will provide the protocols to the agent. So if I look at the Copilot here and open the chat box, here they already provided one option called agent. So whenever we are working with MCP, instead of ask, we have to select agent here. Agent should be there, LLM should be selected, then only MCP will start working. Okay. Now we will go to next step. So how we can integrate PyCharm IDE, Copilot plus MCP. So all three things should be there in one place. So then we will able to achieve, we can do magic. Let me show you how we can install MCP server, especially Playwright MCP server. So as I said, there are multiple MCPs are available in the market for different kind of technology. Suppose if you want to work with the purely databases, then you have to install a different type of MCPs. Then if you want to work with Selenium, there is another type of MCP. For Playwright, there is another type of MCPs available. Okay, anybody can develop their own MCPs nowadays. So Microsoft Playwright is provided their own MCP for accessing Playwright, but nowadays people are developing their own MCPs according to their requirement, but they are not more secure. They are not authenticated. But the Playwright MCP is more authenticated because it is provided from Playwright itself. Microsoft as a backend. So we can 100%, there is an assurance, we can still use it for our automation. Okay. Now let us go to the next level, how we can use PyCharm IDE, GitHub Copilot along with Playwright MCP. So first we need to go with a few installation and I'll show you step-by-step process. Okay, so now we'll see how we can integrate MCP along with the GitHub Copilot and PyCharm. And with this combination, we will try to generate our test cases along with execution. So by using Copilot, we are able to generate the test cases, but we are not able to execute. But now we are integrating MCP also. So once we have installed or integrated with MCP, we can generate web test cases or UI test cases, even API test cases also we can generate automatically. And just we need to provide the manual test case. So the steps simple in English language. And our MCP will automatically generate the test cases by taking help from LLM and agent. And not only generating the test cases, it will automatically execute the test cases. And at the time of execution, if there are any issues, it will automatically fix those issues also. Okay. So that is called as auto healing mechanism. So auto healing mechanism is in the sense what? It will automatically heal the automation code. So there exactly debugging come into picture. We don't need to debug anything manually. So automatically our MCP will automatically debug by applying auto healing mechanisms. And this process is basically called vibe coding. So by taking help of MCP, we are able to generate the automation scripts, which is called as vibe coding. And we are able to run the tests and automatically fixing the issues, which is called auto healing feature. So these are all part of MCPs. Okay. So let us see, it will automatically identify all the elements on the web page, everything, because MCP will able to interact with the browser, interact with the elements. It will access the DOM also, all types of locators. It will able to capture it. Okay, I will show you the magic now. So let us see how we can enhance this. So what are the prerequisites? We already have Python. So we need to install Python if you don't have. And PyCharm IDE, we already have it. And GitHub account also we have it. And if you already install Copilot, we need to log into the GitHub. And additionally, we need Node.js, guys, because Playwright MCP, we can install only through Node.js. Okay, so Playwright MCP, we can install only through Node.js. So Node.js is basically software which we need to install, Otherwise, we cannot use Playwright MCP. Okay, so to install Node.js, that's a prerequisite. I'll guide you step by step. You need to just download the software, go to this location, download this software, Playwright MSI file. And if you're working on Mac, you will see DMG file. So once you download it, just go to the steps, installation, next, and your Node.js will be executed. So once the Node.js will be installed, finally, you need to just configure the path in Windows. Like you need to go to system properties, go to path, and here just you need to add Node.js location, like program files, Node.js. This is the default location. And after that, you can verify the version which is Node.js properly installed or not. So you can just go to command prompt. And this is a prerequisite to work with the Playwright MCP especially. So go to the command prompt and then you need to execute this command. I already installed. Let me show you. Node ---- version. So once you execute it, now you can see the version. Similarly, npm node package manager will automatically comes along with the Node.js because that is needed actually to install all other packages on top of Node.js. Like we have a Python and pip, right? So once you install Python, you will get a pip. Using pip, you can install all other plugins. Similarly, if you install Node, you will get npm. Through this npm, we can install other plugins. So this is a prerequisite to work with the Playwright MCP especially because Playwright MCP is developed based on Node.js itself. So these are the prerequisites. Okay. So yeah, Python, Node.js should be installed. IDE we already have, and GitHub account with a Copilot. So Copilot we have to install. So install and configure GitHub Copilot in PyCharm. So we already given this document. Just now we already completed this step. So we need to go to file and settings, and then we need to install GitHub Copilot. So we already done this step earlier. And we need to log into the GitHub Copilot through IDE. So we already done all these steps. Okay, you don't need to repeat again. So once you have done this GitHub Copilot PyCharm, then this is a new step. We need to additionally add MCP server and we need to enable it. So to install this MCP server, what you need to do is we need to just minimizing this Copilot. Copilot should be there still, okay? And what we need to do, we need to go to file settings again, and go to the same plugin section here. So to install Copilot also, we have done in the same place. Now go to the marketplace and search for MCP. And you can see MCP server. So this is a plugin. You can look at the icon. Okay, there are multiple things are there. You need to correctly install MCP server. You need to install this because I already installed. So it is just giving a checkbox here. So you can see the button like this install. If I just click on install, once you install this MCP server, it will ask you to restart your PyCharm IDE. So once it is restarted, then your GitHub Copilot is ready along with the GitHub account login, and MCP server is also ready. So once you have installed MCP server, once you restart your PyCharm IDE, both of them you can see here. So you can just go to the tools menu. So here you can see MCP server. So you can see this. Copilot we already installed. Second thing is MCP server. So just now we have installed. So these are the two components you should be able to see under the tools. And both the components we have to install only through plugins only. Here you can see the plugins and the marketplace. Okay. So the first thing is we need to install this MCP server. So Copilot is ready, MCP is ready. Now we need to combine them because Copilot is a different component, MCP server is a different component. So now we need to interact with this, right? Our Copilot should interact with the MCP server. So both are two independent plugins. So now we need to integrate them. So to integrate them, so we need to first go to file settings tools, MCP server. We need to enable MCP server. So how we can do this? Again, go to the file and again go to the settings and here go to MCP server. Under the tools, go to the tools and here you can see MCP server. Here you can see small checkbox. Enable MCP server. You just select this box and it will give you some kind of warning. Enable MCP server. Simply click on enable. As soon as you enable it, it will show you few things here. You can just ignore all these things. You don't need to do anything with this. Simply enable this. That's it. I say apply. Okay, this is the one thing you need to do. And once MCP server is done, and the next thing what we need to do is, once it is enabled, now again we need to go back to the model context protocol. Go back to the model context protocol where it is. Sorry, GitHub protocol. This is MCP server we already configured. So there is something called, there is one more thing and think in this GitHub Copilot. Yeah, here you can see under GitHub Copilot, there is model context protocol. There is one more MCP you can see because we have just enabled here. So once you enable this MCP server, then under GitHub Copilot, you can see this option, model context protocol. So here what we need to do is, here we need to just click on this configure, right? So in this, by default, you will see some piece of code, automated code. You should remove that part and place this one. So this is a code which is provided by Playwright MCP itself. So because if I just go to search for Playwright MCP, okay, just type Playwright MCP and they provided their official document, how to install this Playwright MCP. If I scroll down, they have given this piece of code. This is the configuration code which we have to place in the JSON file. So you need to just copy this code inside this mcp.json. So when you will get this file, when you go to the file settings and when you go to the GitHub Copilot and model context protocol, once you click on this configure, here automatically mcp.json file will be open. And in this file, by default, some piece of code will be displayed. You have to remove that code and paste this as new code. Okay. So this particular code will be actually install the MCP client to run the Playwright. Okay. And this will actually having all Playwright commands internally, because how MCP will interact with the browsers, MCP should know all the commands, all the Playwright commands. So to know those commands, we have to install this MCP client through this JSON so that MCP is aware of all Playwright commands. So once we have done it, done. So all our setup is done. So you can just simply close it. So now we have done installation. We have done installation for Copilot and we have installation for MCP. So everything is done. So I put all the nodes here. You can do step by step very carefully. So first we have to install GitHub Copilot, and then we have to install MCP server from the marketplace, and then we have to enable this MCP server. After enabling MCP server like this, and then again we need to integrate MCP server with the Copilot. So for that, again we need to go to tools and GitHub Copilot, model context protocol, click on this configure. And here there is one more option called allowed models. That is optional actually. If I just go back to settings, here we already configured this piece of code, right? So apart from this, if we go to model config here, and here allowed models. So currently these are the models, whatever models, LLM models you have selected, same models will be displayed in the Copilot. And if you do not want any other model, you can simply uncheck it. All models, whichever model you want, you can use it. So this is one more thing that is optional actually. So here we can integrate MCP server with the Copilot. And once you configure that done, so once you click on OK, and this is the mcp.json file where you need to copy this code. And after doing all these things, we need to restart our PyCharm IDE once. Otherwise, all these changes won't be affected. Okay, so let me restart my PyCharm IDE now. Let me close this, exit, and I'm just trying to restart. Just wait for a few seconds. This is a Playwright MCP documentation, official documentation they have provided. So Playwright MCP is know all the commands, because as soon as you have installed with this JSON, it is known all the commands, all Playwright commands. So as of now, this Playwright MCP supported all these LLMs like Claude, Cursor, Goose, and VS Code. All this, some of them are editors, some of them are LLMs. Currently, it is supported. Okay, so it is still, yeah. Now I have just launched my PyCharm MCP after installation of everything. Okay, so now we are ready to use MCP. So now you will see real logic, how MCP is able to generate our test cases based upon our prompt, and how it is able to execute our test cases, how it is able to fix the issues. Everything I will show you practically now. So now what we need to do is, I will show you first how to generate the web UI test case. Okay. I'll also show you API test case. Now here I have designed one prompt. See this. This is the exact prompt. You can modify according to your test case. So, but you can look at this. What is the prompt I'm giving? Generate and execute a Playwright test using PyTest and Playwright MCP. So what I'm asking here, generate and execute. Both I have mentioned here. And Playwright test using PyTest and Playwright MCP. And this is my test scenario or test steps. What I'm doing here, just launch this URL, search for t-shirts in the search box. I'm not providing any locators, nothing. It will automatically find everything. And then I'm verifying that particular t-shirts have been selected. This particular title should be displayed in the search result. Simply I'm giving 3 steps. You can try with multiple steps. And also I'm providing implementation requirements. What are those requirements? Use PyTest style structure, because PyTest is having a separate kind of a structure to write the test cases. Like every test should start with the test underscore. The function should start with the test underscore. So that's the reason I'm saying functions starting with the test underscore. You have to clearly provide the prompt. Otherwise, it won't be generated properly. Then what I'm asking, execute each step interactively through Playwright MCP tools. At the time of generating the steps, it will ask you to interact. Okay, do you want to continue with this or not? Then once all steps are succeeded, generate and save the file final test under scripts, final test script as AI/search product py. What I'm asking here, once the test case is got generated, once it is successfully executed, then save the test case with this name under AI folder. So here I already created one folder called AI testing, or you can change it, AI testing or AI folder, wherever. So I'm trying to change it. For example, let's say AI testing folder. So whatever the tests are created, generated and executed, store that particular test inside this AI testing folder, which I already created here. And what else? run the saved test automatically in headed mode. That is up to you. Okay, if you don't want to use headed mode, you can also run headless mode. So I'm just specifically want to show you this. That's the reason I'm specifically providing these instructions. Run the saved test automatically in headed mode. Browser should be visible. Okay. In any step, if any step or a session got failed, for example, at the runtime, identify and fix the issue, then rerun until the test passes. So rerun also should automatically taken care by MCP server. So this particular step will automatically taking care of debugging, fixing the issues, and rerun the tests. So we don't need any manual intervention here. So we need to properly provide the requirements. And what expected output you want? A fully working Playwright PyTest test script. And the test script should automate the complete flow described above and successfully validate the product name in the results. This is a complete prompt. So accordingly, you need to design this. And test case to test case, little bit different, but only steps will be changed. But according to Playwright Python, you no need to change the rest of the structure because these steps are almost same for all the test cases. And later I will also show you how we can generate a test by using page object class, page object model. Okay, that is also there. So for now, let's create test case. Let's try to generate the test case. Let it execute it. And also after execution, it will also save the test case inside the AA testing folder. That's what I'm asking to MCP. Now what you need to do, simply copy this prompt. Now you see the magic here. Just copy this prompt, go back to your PyCharm IDE and open your GitHub, open your GitHub Copilot, open the chart. And here in this chat box, you have to select the agent. Okay, you have to select the agent. And here, whichever LLM you want, you can select. So I'm trying to use this GPT 4.1, which is latest. And then whatever the prompt you have, simply copy this prompt here. Just a moment. So I'm not able to copy directly from here. So I will put this inside the notepad. Okay, so now let us copy this. Paste it over here. So everything should be in the text format. Suppose if you have any file, right, this entire thing, this entire prompt is saved in some text file or some other, you can attach that file directly. In that case, you no need to write anything here. So whatever is there in the attached file, that will be executed by MCP. Now see the beauty, you have to focus very carefully how it is going to do it. So I'm just providing the prompt and simply say send. Just I have sent a prompt. Now see the beauty. It is trying to understand. It is trying to do everything and capturing everything. So I can see run create file tool, something is getting some warning. Let it be there. It will automatically fix. Now you can see the beauty. It is automatically generating the code. And also you can see we need to accept. Sometimes it will give you some notification. We need to accept, then it will proceed. Okay, now it is asking to run your command. Test is got generated, but it is asking us to run this. Simply say continue. Now it is started executing our test. Collected one item. Now you can see it is opening the browser, running the test. So within seconds of time, the test is got generated and execution is also completed, successfully passed. And what we have asked after successful completion, save the file in AA testing folder. You can see that. Search underscore product. So this is the file name which we have given in the prompt. So it is got generated file name. So this is a test which is got created. So again, if you want to do some modifications in this test, we can simply do it. Okay, now let us try to use some other LLM and see how it is going to generate. So what I will do it, I can simply close this. I delete this one now. I'm deleting the file. Okay, now let us give the same prompt one more time. So generate and execute Playwright test using PyTest and Playwright MCP. Okay, everything is same. Now I'm just copying the same thing. One more time I'm providing, but this time I'm trying to take another LLM. So whichever you want, you can take. So let's say GPT-5 mini I'm taking. Let's see now. And simply send. I think the previous one is still running actually. So run the command in terminal. headed mode. So we have still not completed actually. Let me cancel this. Okay. Now again, everything we are starting from new. Okay. So done. Yeah. Now I'm giving the prompt one more time. Run it. If there is an error, it will automatically fix it and rerun it also. So let it complete first. Okay. It is working. So it is doing all the activities. And in between, it will ask you your permission also. Do you want to continue or not? Because that is also we provided in the prompt. So it is generating the test. See, depending on the network speed, it depends, okay, how faster it is. Sometimes it will go very fast. Now you can see how much time we will take to write this entire piece of code. Lot of time, right? So it is simply generated. So just accept and still it is not completed. So it is asking run command in terminals. So what is this command? Headed mode. It is basically running the test. So simply click on continue. So it is started running the test. See, again, it is open the browser. Passed. Suppose if it is a failed, what will happen? We already provided the prompt here, right? So if any step or session fails, identify, fix the issue, then rerun until the test passes. Because we already provided this instruction, if anything is got failed at the time of generating the test, sometimes there will be some duplicate locators. At the time, test will fail first time. Even though that is generated by MCP, test will fail. In that case, what it will do, it will automatically identify the fix and then fix that issue and then it automatically rerun it. So we no need to rerun the test. So until the test passes, it will keep rerunning and keep doing some changes till the test is passes. Because of this prompt, it will automatically take care of it. So once it is done, the new file is got automatically generated here. And after that, if you want to do some slight modification, suppose if you want to convert this in our own PyTest style, little bit, this is also PyTest format, but it is giving a function format. So normally what you will do, he will pass a playwright fixture, right? Here, say playwright fixture, you will pass like this, right? So we need to import this playwright. Import this from sync API playwright. So like this, and then you can just remove this part. And this particular playwright, you can use instead of P. Now, if you want to align this, you can again simply right click, select this and right click. And anyway, we have a GitHub Copilot, everything, right? So we can simply simplify this. Click on simplify this. It will make more simplify this code. Clean up and refactor the code and simply can say again, insert code block. That's it. And then close this. Or else you can simply select Control Alt L. Everything is aligned. So this is how we can simply use GitHub Copilot. So are we doing any coding here? Simple. We are not doing any coding. We are just frame the prompt properly. We have to just provide the instructions carefully. Automatically the test is generated. Execution is also happened. If there are any issues, it will automatically rerun. But currently we don't have any issues in the code. But sometimes even MCPs also generate this code by mistake, some taking but incorrect kind of locators. At the time, test will fail and automatically fix it one more time. Keep on running until it passes. So this is the beauty of using MCP. Okay. Now I'll show you one more example. This time we will generate the test case using page object class. But as of now, we are not using any page object class here, right? So we will try to create a page object class and then create the test. Even page object class also created by MCP itself. So let me do that. So let me give another prompt. So we already done this. Next one, I'll show you. Same. This time I will give you a different prompt. Okay. With using page object classes, we want to generate the test. Okay. So this is another prompt. So what I'm doing here, generate and execute Playwright test using PyTest and Playwright MCP. Same. Test scenarios got changed. So this time I'm opening another URL. Click on the login link in the top navigation bar. Enter Pawan OL in the username field. Enter test@123 in the password field because we already aware of this application, right? So this is the one actually. Let me show you this. So this is the application. So I'm trying to automate this. So click on the login here, provide our username and password. Click on the login. And this is the flow I want to automate. And after that, what you want to do? Verify that logout link is visible and also verify that welcome Pavan OL appears at the top right of the page. Then click on the logout link. Verify that login link is visible after logging out. So these are all the steps I want to generate. Then implementation requirements are same. And this time we want to generate page object class. So apply the page object model design pattern for page structure and element management and save all page object files inside the project's AI directory. So here we are using AI testing, right? AI test, same directory, page object class also I want to store. And follow the PyTest style convention function starting with test underscore. Execute each step interactively using Playwright MCP tools to validate flow and elements. Once all steps are validated successfully, then generate and save the file test script as AI testing and test login and logout. This is the name of the test file and automatically execute the saved test in headed mode. And if any step or session fails, analyze, fix and rerun the test until it passes. So this is complete prompt. Everything is mentioned. Now see the beauty, how it is going to generate the page object class within seconds. Everything will be done. See, same procedure. So let me go to Copilot, open the chat box and just provide the prompt as usual. Select the agent and whichever pilot you want to select, simply select whichever you want and simply send it. Now observe. So it is taking all the steps, prompt, everything it started doing. See, with the page object class is got generated. Now test case is also got generated. Within few seconds, page object class, test case, everything is ready. If you have multiple page object classes, even multiple page object classes also automatically create. I think you see multiple page object classes have been created. Okay, now it will ask, it is asking for execution. See, login logout, page object class is created, test case is also created. Now it is asking for execution. Simply say continue. Now it is started. Execution, now you can see it is got failed somewhere. No module named AA testing. Inside the AA testing, everything is there, but somehow it is giving an error. So what we should do now? It is giving some error, right? So again, rerun, continue. Because if there are any issues, we are asked to rerun one more time, right? So that's the prompt is executing. So again, it is failed here. That's the reason it is asking to rerun. Run the command in terminal one more time. So simply say continue. We are asked to fix that issue and rerun again, right? So now it is started execution. See this. So first time we got an issue and again it is automatically fixed and it is successfully executed. So this time definitely it should pass. See, it is still validating the logout link and the name which is displayed in the navigation bar. So suppose again if it is failed, again it will rerun one more time. Yeah, now it is done. So somehow it is got failed once again. Okay, again, if it is failed again, it will ask you to rerun one more time. So two times it is got failed. So again, it is working on it. It is working on fix. So once it is working on fix, it will give you the command. Again, do you want to read? Now you can see it is identify all the fixes, right? So you can see accept all. And now again, it is giving the same command to run. So now it is got fixed again. So again, continue this. So until it fixes, it keeps running the automation tests. So now again, it is open, login, logout. So I think now it will pass. So successfully login. It will take multiple reruns. So now it is almost successfully login. Somehow it is failed because of some timeout. Page wait for selector, right? So this is 15,000 exceeded. Somehow it is got failed somewhere. Okay. So it is again still trying to fix it. Let it fix. We'll wait for a few seconds. Okay. So now it is trying to do some keep changes. You can see it is actually, this is the error. It is giving actually the fix. And if you want to accept this fix, we need to click on the tick mark actually. Okay. So we need to just click on this tick mark and say accept, right? So again, continue this. Is asking changes. So once you accepted those changes, then it is trying to fix and rerun it. So this is the beauty of using MCP. So within fraction of seconds, everything is doing it. So if you want to do it manually, creating page object classes, creating the test case takes a lot of time. Okay, so it takes multiple reruns or multiple times. So, but this is the procedure, guys. I hope you understood. So this is the procedure. We need to uh, generate the test cases and run the test cases. If there are any failures are happen, it will keep on rerunning the test cases. And in between, if you want to do manual changes, and still you can do those manual changes, okay, according to the test. But before doing all these things, at least you have to aware of automation, right? So until unless you know the coding and implementation, you cannot use this MCPs and Playwright anything, right? So that's the reason first you have to learn everything. You have to know how to write the automation code. You have to learn how to create a page object class. And then if you can start using MCP models. So if I start using, if even though if you face any issues or any issues, you can easily fix them. So that is the main advantage of using MCP server. Okay. So similarly, different tools are having different type of MCP servers. Even Selenium is also having their own MCP server. Selenium TypeScript, if I'm using if I'm using Playwright TypeScript combination, again, same Playwright server. So this is supported all three languages. So this Playwright MCP is implemented for Playwright JavaScript, Playwright TypeScript, Playwright Java, Playwright Python. All four languages are supported with single Playwright MCP. Okay, but Selenium Java, Selenium Python is having a different kinds of MCPs. Again, they have implemented by some third-party people, not by Playwright, not by Microsoft. So we cannot give guarantee on those MCPs and security aspect. Okay, so this is how we can use MCPs uh, to automatically generate the code, automatically create the files, automatically the execution will also automatically happens, right? So this will saves a lot of time, and this is a nowadays trend. Okay, so this is a ongoing technologies in the current market. So this is the future. So there are n number of MCPs are already came in the market, still coming. So you need to learn this and you need to upgrade this. Copilot will support almost all type of IDEs, and Eclipse I'm not sure, but support VS Code editor. PyCharm it support. IntelliJ IDE is also support. And if you are working with Selenium Java, try to use IntelliJ IDE, which is having good number of features. Copilot supports, right? So MCP is also available for all kinds of technologies. So there are different technologies, different MCPs are available. If you want to work with the database side, then database MCP is needed, right? So I'll show you quickly API also, how we can generate API test case. So far we have seen only web test. So we can also generate API test. So what I can do is I will also give a new prompt for API test. So let's see how exactly API test will generate. So I'm just changing the prompt. So generate and execute an API test using PyTest and Playwright MCP. So what is my test scenario? I want to set API endpoint. This is the API endpoint. So if I run this API endpoint, actually what will happen is it will return some JSON response. So this is our response. In the response, we have an ID, title, and some price, description, so many other things. So let us test this. So send the GET request to the endpoint, verify the response status code 200, validate that response JSON contains the keys. So these are the keys should be there in the JSON response and the data also. Verify the JSON response includes the following expected values. And after that, what I should do? Log the complete response body to the console. I just want to print in my console window. And what are the implementation details? Follow the PyTest style structure. Execute each step interactively using Playwright MCP tools for validation. After successful validation, save the generated script as again in AI testing folder with this name, test API test MCP. If any step or assertion fails, again identify, fix the issues, then rerun until the test passes. What is an expected output? A complete and functional Playwright plus PyTest API test script that verifies the product details from the fake store API and logs the response body. This is complete prompt. Let's see how it is going to generate API test case, and it will run also automatically. Go back and go to Copilot, open the chat window, agent GTP 4.1 I'm selecting, put the prompt, simply send it. So this time it is going to generate API test case within few seconds. See this, done. Accept, and now it is giving the command to run it. We need to give the permission to run the test. So click on continue. Now it is started running my test. Done. You can see one test is got passed. So as soon as it get passed, it is also saved the test case inside my AI testing folder. You can look at somewhere. You can see this test API test underscore MCP. So this is a test which is got generated. This is the API test case. Okay. So you can use this MCP for API testing also. So that again, you need to include in the prompt. Okay. So how you have designed the prompt depends on that it will behave. If you want to capture the screenshot, that should be also included in the prompt properly. Right? If there are any failure, just you need to capture the screenshot. You need to add that point. Currently, I have not added anything in this prompt. I just given plain prompt. Okay. But that is anyway, we are handling through framework, right? Capturing the screenshot and everything. So that is not needed to put in the prompt separately. But if you are creating individual test case without using any framework, then you can add that in the prompt. But anyway, we don't do individual test case like this, right? We are going to follow the framework concept. In the framework, we already have pytest.ini, conftest.py. So all the configuration files we have already handled, how to capture the screenshot, videos, trays, and everything. So better to don't include them inside the prompt. So just write a clean prompt and keep in everything in the proper prompt, and then it will do it. So it did not log in the console window. It should log actually. It did not log, or else we need to rerun once again. Okay. So complete functional, what we're expecting, any. So where we provided the prompt. So verify the JSON response. We have, okay, log the complete response body in the, actually this is the console. What we are calling here, this is, yeah, console. Or we can just try to change the prompt, log or print the complete response body to the console as an output. Okay. So just need to change the prompt properly, or if you're not satisfied with the output, then you can rerun it, no problem at all. Okay, so you can just remove the code whatever you have created, simply provide the prompt one more time and see this time we'll see whether it is printing the output or not. So everything is depends on prompt only, guys. Okay, if you properly give the prompt, accordingly it will do it. Now it is asking to execute, say continue. So if I look at the test, it is not added any step to print the response. See here, yeah, actually here it is printing response dot in the text format. It is printing actually, but it is not text, right? So it should be JSON, right? It should be JSON. This actually return the response. So again, you can rerun it. So, and you can just provide only specific prompt. Run the test again. So the same test, again, it is asking for command. Click on continue. We just do some modification, right? Okay, so my plan is, so you have reached the monthly chat messages quota, upgrade to Copilot. So 30 days free trial available, guys. So after that, it will be, we need to upgrade this. Or else we need to wait for another 24 hours, something like this. Then you can use this Copilot chat box. Clearly giving, you have reached the monthly chat messages. Let us try to use another GPT and see. Okay. Let me rerun the test once again. I'm just trying to change the LLM and we'll see. No, this is coming from actually Copilot. Okay, so we need to upgrade the plan. So this a free version is provided, but once the free trial is over, we need to again upgrade with this Copilot, or else you need to create another GitHub account. So you can create multiple GitHub accounts so that you can use another 30 days like that. But in the real time, actually, they will upgrade it by paying something. It is not totally free actually, but the free trial is available. 30 days we can use it. So that's it. My limit is over here. So I hope everybody's understood so far, right? How we can use and how we can generate the test cases using MCP along with the Playwright. So I'll share this document, keep it with you. I provided all the steps one by one, how to install Copilot and MCP server, then integrate Copilot with MCP server in PyCharm IDE, provided this command in mcp.json. And this prompt is for web and UI test case. This is for page object model, and this is for API test. Okay. So that's it about MCPs, Copilot, how we can use AI concepts in IDE. PyCharm IDE especially supported. So earlier, almost 1-2 months back, IDE is not supported this actually. But nowadays it is started supporting PyCharm IDE. So it has supported other IDEs like IntelliJ IDE, Visual Studio Code IDE, but recently they have given support to PyCharm IDE also. So you can just play with them and you can understand better. Okay. So that's it for MCP AI in automation. We'll continue in the next class.